I'm Herb Glover at the AFN Broadcast Center in Frankfurt. Within the next few minutes, you are going to be given the opportunity to participate in a nationwide manhunt for a wanted criminal. In cooperation with Germany's ZDF television network, we in the American military community, along with our German, Swiss, and Austrian neighbors, are going to see the recreation of the crimes and then look at some facts and evidence. We'll also meet a special agent from the Army's 2nd Region CID headquarters here in Germany. Later, we're going to give you some phone numbers where both German and American investigators are standing by this evening to take your calls, so please have a pencil and paper handy. For nearly 20 years, the German television program XY Ungelost has systematically presented evidence to viewers who have helped to solve murders and crimes on television, and we welcome the opportunity to work with them this evening. For some time, German and American authorities have been working together in the investigation of 2 murders, one in November 1983 and the other one 1 month later, and the attempted murder of an American military policeman in February 1984. In all 3 incidents, the same weapon was used. Now, to take a closer look at the story, let's watch a reenactment of the crimes with actors based on the best evidence available.
On the outskirts of the Rhineland-Palatinate Spa of Bad Kreuznach, there is a large shopping center for the American soldiers and their families stationed in this area. The American Express Bank maintains a branch office in this shopping center. Once a day, shortly before 10 a.m., a money transport leaves this place for the U.S. garrison in Dexheim, about 35 kilometers from here. These transports are made by the military police. On Wednesday, 1 February 1984, Staff Sergeant John Anderson is tasked with this job. By him on this day are also U.S. citizens. They carry about 160,000 marks in their money bags, in German and U.S. currency. The route of the patrol vehicle with its valuable load takes on this day is Federal Highway 420 from Bad Kreuznach via Wörstadt to Dexheim. For all persons involved, this trip has long been a routine matter. There have never been any incidents.
I thought it was tremendous. I didn't realize it wasn't a Halloween party.
For the first time, there is a deviation from this routine on this Wednesday. Near Wörstadt, a small red car comes up behind the MP vehicle, a Renault 5 with U.S. license plates. The man in the passenger seat of the R5 suddenly points a pistol at the military policeman.
Hey, watch it!
What at first looks like a holdup develops into something entirely different.
This crazy nut tried to kill me. He had a gun. Goaltender 4-5. A vehicle just passed me and pointed a weapon at me. Goaltender, do you hear me?
4-5, Goaltender. The military policeman does not just ignore the incident. He reports in to his headquarters and starts to follow the vehicle. In the next town in Undenheim, the men with the red Renault have left Federal Route 420. Recklessly, they zoom through the narrow streets. But the MP vehicle stays on their trail. At the end of Undenheim, a second and even more dangerous encounter occurs.
Lay down, girls. Lay down.
In consideration of the safety of the 2 women, Sergeant John Anderson does not return the fire and discontinues the pursuit of the trigger-happy men.
Moonbase, this is 4-5.
Instead, he again informs his base station in Mainz of the incident.
Our present location is Undenheim.
Approximately 10 kilometers south of Undenheim is the small village of Gau-Heppenheim. Shortly before 11 a.m., the sales car of a bakery stops here in the center of the village. At approximately the same time, the red Renault enters Gau-Heppenheim and is parked on a small side street. As the police determined later on, this car was stolen in Mannheim 2 days ago, on the 30th of January. The original German license plates had been replaced with U.S. license plates, which had also been stolen. The man who shot at the military policeman must have left the vehicle earlier at some other location. The second man, a black, probably an American, obviously intends to continue his flight without the red vehicle, which by this time is known to the police.
Excuse me, change. Deutschmarks.
Wechsele. Okay, aber du musst mir auch was abkaufen, mein Lieber.
What did you say?
Okay, ich wechseln, aber du musst was kaufen.
Okay, give me 2, please.
Ajo, wir müssen es denen bloß richtig erklären. Da verstehen sie auch Deutsch.
The bus?
Jetzt will er auch noch wissen, wo die Bushaltestelle ist. Als die Straße nun in die Richtung, ungefähr 100 Meter. 100 Meters. In die Richtung, genau. Okay?
So. Und 20. So, danke.
This way.
This way.
Thank you.
Kann ich
war
jetzt
das,
noch
ne?
ein Kleid Brot haben?
Das Leibbrot.
Ja.
Okay. So.
The dark-skinned American is observed a couple of more times in Gau-Heppenheim on this morning.
Guten Tag.
Coke, please.
Ein Coke.
On one occasion, he is seen in the Gasthaus, where he orders a Coke, and where later on the keys to the red R5 are found under the music box.
Macht 1,50.
Excuse me, could you tell me where I am?
Ach, Sie haben Kat. Zeig sie mal.
I'm trying to get to Mainz.
Mainz.
Where
Mal
is
gucken,
this
wo wir
place?
sind.
The man, who is apparently not familiar with the area, asks the proprietress what the name of the town is and which is the fastest way to Mainz. The lady recommends that he take the bus to Alzey and from there the next train to Mainz.
Dann nehmen Sie den nächsten Zug nach Mainz. Das ist schon da. Ja, gar nicht so schwer. Warte, Sie kriegen noch was raus. So.
Thank you.
The bus reaches the bus stop in Gau-Heppenheim according to schedule. Investigation later revealed that the black rode on this bus. He leaves the bus in Alzey, where at about 11:30 a.m., every trace of him is finally lost. The German authority responsible for the investigation of the incident at Undenheim is the criminal police in Mainz. At first, the whole thing does not make much sense to the detectives. And they are going to mark the 2 locations which have played a role in this matter so far.
Ah, ja, hier, danke, alles klar.
Also, wenn das ein Überfall sein sollte.
The 2 detectives wonder why the perpetrators did not attempt to get to the money during the incident, that they just started shooting, and that only by the prudent reaction of the military policeman, serious consequences had been avoided. Anyway, the offenses committed were attempted murder and attempted robbery.
Falsche Nummernschilder.
Naja, kommt schon einiges zusammen.
Ja.
Ich soll zu BKA fahren, nach Wiesbaden.
Another detective is ordered to take the secured shells to the firearms identification section of the Bundeskriminalamt in Wiesbaden.
Ich ein bisschen beeile, wenn es geht. Geht in Ordnung.
And on that very same day, one of the firearms experts of the BKA makes an almost sensational discovery. Thereafter, the strange shooting at Undenheim is seen in a completely different light.
Horst, bist du da?
Ja, was gibt's?
Du, ich glaube, ich habe hier ein ganz dickes Ding. Komm doch bitte mal eine Sekunde rüber.
Bin schon unterwegs.
Horst, guck dir das doch mal genau an.
The two lab technicians determined that the weapon from which the shots were fired at the military policeman in Undenheim had been used in 2 murder cases prior to this incident. In the murder of a soldier of the German forces at Zweibrücken and the murder of a taxi driver at Weinheim.
Das ist dann ja wirklich ein dickes Ding.
Based on the results of this examination, the detectives of the Mainz Criminal Police obtained the case files of these cases and studied them thoroughly. Among other things, they determined that in both cases, just like in Undenheim, 3 shots were fired. They then turned to the details of the Michael Zeiger murder case. He was last seen in a disco in Hamburg Saar. That was on 19 November 83. From there, he must have traveled to Zweibrücken with his red Golf. He was probably no longer alone at that time. He was shot in his car at the outskirts of Zweibrücken. The American airfield is very close to that location. A knife was left behind in the vehicle. The offender then dragged the body from the car and some distance into a meadow next to the road. He then took off in the vehicle. The officer adds that the red Golf was found next to Highway B420 at Meisenheim near Bad Kreuznach, and that the vehicle had been broken into.
Ja, aber das können auch andere gewesen sein. Es gibt da nämlich einen Zeugen. Der hat den Golf dann noch unbeschädigt stehen sehen.
Mhm. Der zweite Fall, der von der Kripo in Heidelberg?
The detectives then turned to the second murder, which had been committed in Weinheim on der Bergstraße. The victim was a taxi driver, a Yugoslavian male who had been living in the Federal Republic of Germany for 10 years. His name, Zoran Stakic. The whole thing happened near a gas station in the middle of the town shortly after 1 a.m. The last passenger was a black male. He entered the taxi at Mannheim Käfertal. There is a credible witness to that fact. Again, 3 shots were fired in the vehicle. And again, the perpetrator took off with the vehicle. The taxi driver died shortly thereafter at the hospital. He was still able to say that the perpetrator was an American. And the detective concludes that the taxi was found parked at the Frankfurt airport the next morning, just a few hundred meters away from the entrance to the U.S. Air Base. The keys and the documents belonging to the taxi driver were missing.
A recreation of the 3 crimes based on the best evidence available. Joining us right now here in Frankfurt tonight is Special Agent Lowell Berg of the Army's 2nd Region CID. Mr. Berg, to what extent do U.S. law enforcement people work hand in hand with the German or the host country agencies?
We work with the German police almost on a daily basis on all sorts of investigations.
Okay, let's orient our viewers with a map you brought along with you tonight to the 3 crimes, the relative locations.
The first murder occurred in Zweibrücken with the Bundeswehr soldier, his body found near the air base in Zweibrücken. His vehicle was found abandoned in the town of Meisenheim.
Mm-hmm.
In the second incident, the cab driver picked up his last fare in Mannheim and was killed in the town of Weinheim. Near the town of Langen, just outside of the Rhein-Main Air Base, is where his cab was abandoned. In the third incident, the MP was leaving Bad Kreuznach en route to Dexheim, however was approached by the red Renault in Undenheim where shots were fired, and later on, the red Renault was found abandoned in Gauheppenheim.
Now, the common thread that's woven through all these crimes is the weapon. Tell us about this weapon.
The weapon is a 9mm, and for some reason, only 3 rounds were fired on all 3 incidents. This gives us indication to believe that maybe the weapon jams after 3 rounds because of a fault in manufacture.
Okay, we're going to look at some photos right now and some evidence. Following the sequence of the film, let's go back to the interception of that American Express money transport in Undenheim.
The evidence found in this case is basically a 36-inch long piece of metal cord, which is covered with black plastic. This was used to take the license plate and to wire it to the vehicle itself.
Now, what about ammunition?
Ammunition used in all 3 cases was Remington Peters 9mm parabellum. It's stamped with the name Luger on the back end.
Okay. Is that pretty standard? Could those be purchased, for example, in a rod and gun club?
Yes, rod and gun clubs throughout USERA do have these type rounds. The weapon is a Model FN, possibly, based upon the ballistics examinations. It is an automatic, and it would be similar to one like this.
Okay. Now we're going to take a look at the red Renault, which was used in this Undenheim interception. Now, we see it here with American plates on it. Tell us about the car.
Yes, right here it does show the American plates, but it was stolen from Mannheim, and it did have Mannheim license plates on it at the time. American plates were stolen in the Bad Kreuznach area.
How long was that car stolen for?
The car was stolen on the 30th of January, and on the 1st of February is when it was finally found abandoned. During this time, 900 kilometers had been driven, which means that the car had to have been gassed up somewhere, and somebody may have seen it. The original license plates from the red Renault were Mannheim license plates MASE 580, and these are still missing.
Okay, now going back to the first incident, the murder of the Bundeswehr soldier, there was one piece of evidence in that crime. Show it to us.
Yes, the one piece of evidence found was a pocket knife, a red rosewood handle, corkscrew, and a couple of blades. Now, one other thing that was taken at the time of this incident was the car key belonging to the VW Golf, which belonged to the Bundeswehr soldier.
Anything significant about this particular key?
No, nothing really significant. It's a Volkswagen key, but it's missing.
Okay, the murder of the taxi driver, Yugoslavian man Zoran Stakic. A lot of items disappeared during that crime.
Yes, a number of items did disappear, one of them being this men's leather Handtasche. And inside the leather Handtasche were a number of documents pertaining to a Detloff Wehner. Now, these documents include his driver's license, ID card, taxi operator's license, and chauffeur's license. In addition to this, there was also the black wallet belonging to Zoran Stakic. The black wallet being just the typical German men's black wallet. However, inside the black wallet, he did have his driver's license and also his chauffeur's license. Copies of them are on this photo here. In addition to these 2 items, there was also a key ring taken from him. The key ring is a bit unusual because of the fact that he has a key fob with the insignia Aries, and also there are 7 keys. There's Mercedes keys and keys to an apartment or a series of apartments in Weinheim. These apartment keys have a yellow identification tag on them with the address in Weinheim of the apartments.
This last photo you have here is a rather unusual instrument. Describe this for us.
This is a homemade billy club or homemade blackjack that the cab driver used to carry in his car. The thing is missing at this time. It's about 12 inches long. It's made of a spring steel, and the handle is made of a different type of steel, both of them which are welded together.
Mr. Berg, we're told that a reward is being offered in this case.
Yes, a total of 15,000 marks has been offered as a reward for information leading to the identity of the perpetrators.
Now, right at this very moment, we have both German and American investigators standing by, manning telephones, ready to take calls from anyone who may have evidence in these cases. Where should they call?
they should call Mannheim Military 2131-8230 or 6385, or from a German phone they can call 0621-78230 or 730-6385.
Mr. Berg, thank you for being with us tonight. If any of the evidence presented here tonight triggers your memory, please call one of these numbers immediately. Our thanks to the German Kriminalpolizei, the Army's 2nd Region CID, and the producers of the ZDF program XY Ungelost for making tonight's report possible. And thank you for your interest and cooperation. Now with Special Agent Lowell Berg, I'm Herb Glover. Good night.